Welcome to the Hospital Finance Podcast, your go-to source for information and insights that can help you stay ahead of the challenges impacting healthcare finance. And now, the host of the Hospital Finance Podcast, Michael Passanante.
Hi, this is Mike Passanante, and welcome back to the Hospital Finance Podcast. Artificial intelligence, automation, and machine learning are terms we hear talked about more and more in all walks of life. Now, the hospital revenue cycle is poised to benefit more from these techniques in the years ahead. But what do these terms actually mean to a hospital, and what can health systems expect to derive from implementing these approaches? To help sort these questions out, I'm joined by Wright, Chief Technology Officer at Besler. Wade, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Just to get us level set, why don't you start off by giving us some everyday examples that we might see of artificial intelligence, automation, and machine learning?
You bet. AI, machine learning, and automation are all, part of the same kind of field in technology. And most of us see it and use it and experience it and don't even realize that is what's going on. It can be as simple as Amazon, suggesting things for you to buy based on what you've bought and what other people like you have purchased. The best route when you're using Uber and Lyft and how you're getting there. It's used in fraud detection. So if your credit card seems like it's being used somewhere that it's not, they detect that using this kind of technology. And even my wife's personal favorite, her robot vacuum, it goes around our house, it learns the house, where it can go, where it can't, and cleans up and parks itself and charges and makes her life a lot easier.
It's all around us, which is kind of cool. And certainly it is eking its way into the healthcare space, probably more rapidly than any of us realize. So why don't you talk to us about healthcare in general and what some of the benefits are that people are seeing or might see using these technologies?
There's some amazing work in imaging and medical imaging using machine learning and artificial intelligence, where we're beginning to have machines that can detect cancer in images at a higher accuracy rate than physicians. And this, of course, leads to some great things of detecting it sooner, which obviously leads to earlier treatment, and it is better all the way around for everybody. So there's some amazing stuff in that field for sure.
So let's focus in on the revenue cycle then specifically. Can you apply each of these concepts to some aspect of the revenue cycle so we can see what these technologies might actually do in specific situations?
Sure. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are well suited to attack problems where you have standardized processes, where we do things in certain ways, and healthcare is really good about that. And also for having things where there's large data sets, so we can learn what to expect and outcomes and things like that. So, of course, everybody wants their denial rates to improve, their days in AR to shrink, their coding to improve, and of course, wanting to get paid accurately faster. All of these have really nice potential to be improved, and in some cases totally solved with using artificial intelligence and machine learning. So imagine if a hospital could collect proper payment and reduce how fast that happens, and basically reduce their cost for collecting revenue. They could utilize the money they would normally spend to collect revenue in other ways. Personally, my sister-in-law recently had breast cancer, and I'd love more money spent on that than, say, trying to collect payment for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Certainly an opportunity cost comes along with trying to run a revenue cycle operation. The more efficiently you can do that, the better, right?
Absolutely.
So, Wade, this is an issue that, I'm interested whether or not it divides sort of along the lines of the size of organizations, because some larger systems may have enough horsepower to build applications on their own that employ these technologies, while others are going to be more dependent on vendor-based solutions. So for the revenue cycle leader, what should they be looking for when evaluating potential solutions that use these technologies?
Of course, the answer is results. It's totally about the what is accomplished and not much about how it's done. If a vendor provides you the best results you can get, and they're using machine learning, great, but obviously choosing that solution just because it's kind of flashy and has a sexy tech appeal to it is not the best choice in those cases.
So what would you say are the top benefits that a revenue cycle leader should expect or should be looking for when they're evaluating these technologies?
At a high level, I'd say the best thing that you care about is cost reduction and, of course, improved accuracy and reimbursement. In general, if we spend less to collect the money that is due our organizations, we can simply do more with those cost savings. We can do a lot more important things with that money, and I think that's the top benefits that this technology can ultimately provide.
So Wade, you're a very knowledgeable technology leader, and I want to dig into what we're doing at Besler because, frankly, it fascinates me. Can you talk to us about what you're doing to guide the use of these technologies in our technical platforms?
You bet. At Besler, we pretty much have a two-pronged approach of how we're beginning to capitalize on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation. Automation sometimes is referred to as robotic process automation and things like that. So we actually have several things in development using all of these, and some are already in our existing systems. Our first approach is to directly, impact our clients with these things. When it comes down to collecting proper payment, reducing AR, improving denials through prevention, and then a lot of the things that we've been discussing. Another very tangible prong of our multi-pronged approach is indirectly improving our client's life by applying these technologies to our internal systems. So, for example, Revenue Integrity Services is an offering from Besler, and we have an internal tool that our development team has built. And this tool is taught by our analysts and experts. They teach it how to identify situations in claims and coding to be more accurate. And so they've literally taught it thousands of these types of situations that it can find. And then we use machine learning and AI to discover what's the most bang for the buck, if you will, or the best of that. Handing a client, here's 1,000 things you need to do, and maybe not all of them are return you a lot of value on it. Our machine learning algorithms and things take into consideration much more than, hey, is this just a dollar amount? It's how long does it take to make the change? What is the impact to the organization in terms of their efforts and what they have to do? And so ours helps figure out and tune our engine for that on a facility-by-facility basis.
So Wade, just to wrap things up here, do you have any advice for hospital revenue cycle leaders as we all move forward towards the adoption of these new advancements?
I would say experiment and learn, and really start with the questions that you might want to solve. What if we could predict the claims denials prior to us dropping the bill? Or, hey, what if we could jumpstart our cost report from previous years? Could machine learning help me do those type of things? And starting with the questions that you might can answer with this technology will lead you to the right choices to make along that way. There's a lot of competing algorithms and different things that most people don't know or care about, but as a leader, you look at it and you want to be figuring out the best choice. Start with the questions that you want to solve, and then you can talk to your vendors and your own internal people if you have that kind of ability in your organization to help figure out how to get there.
Great insights, Wade. Thanks for joining me today on the show to talk more about these new burgeoning technologies.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This concludes today's episode of the Hospital Finance Podcast. For show notes and additional resources to help you protect and enhance revenue at your hospital, visit Besler.com/podcasts. The Hospital Finance Podcast is a production of Besler. Smart about revenue, tenacious about results.